Well, good morning. I'm back to 444 and I'm feeling better today. I did get some resolution on the family issue yesterday, thank God. I did make a little bit of sense out of one of the dreams that I had, which I may share at another time, not in this video today. This video is entitled The Gnostic View, John Lash, Western Religions. Yesterday, one of my friends posted this link on my video, and I have the link. It's part of a Red Ice interview with John Lash, a proponent of Gnosticism. He cited a source that claimed the Abrahamic religions were Archon controlled. Archon is the Gnostic term for demons, jinn, demiurge, etc. Archons are the source of malevolence or evil. I was fascinated at one point in my life with Gnostic teachings, just as I was at an earlier point with fundamentalist Christianity. Today I look at both of them as ego-driven philosophies that propagate what I see as a closed system. They speak in terms of absolutes, claiming that they alone know the truth and others are in error. These philosophies, based on a know-it-all attitude, are themselves polarizing, therefore evil by their very nature. While ego development is part of our evolution, if we stay stuck in that adolescent stage, we will continue to experience our lives and a world where we are our own worst enemy. One of the basic teachings of Gnosticism, which actually was applied to the Western religions to some degree or another. I think each religion that added, it was Judaism, and then Christianity was added on top of that, then Islam was added on top of that. And the one thing that they have in common with Gnosticism is that they paint the world as evil, number one, and primarily it's the physical, well actually Eastern religions do this too. They do it in a different way, but they do it nevertheless. Materialism, or the matter, is basically bad. The flesh is evil, the spirit is good. That's the idea that drives the polarization, that creates the dichotomy and all of the stress on earth, because we're constantly stressed, fighting against ourselves. Now, we can fight against our ego, we can fight against our sexuality, we can fight against our intuition, we can fight against our physical existence, we can fight against our concepts of God, which I do all the time because I'm always challenging my concept of God to something that works. I don't want a God that's impotent. I want a God that actually can make things happen in the real world that are desirable rather than things that are not desirable. Now, John Lash, I don't remember the name of the source that he quoted. It was an early Christian writer quoting the Gnostics or talking about the Gnostics. And Gnostic, by the way, in case you don't, for those of you that may not know, Gnostic means I know. Like agnostic means I don't know. They're from the Greek words, okay, to know and not to know. Well, when I was younger, and this is true of most adolescents, not all adolescents, but most adolescents go through the stage where they know more than their parents, and they want their own way, and they don't want to listen to anybody else's rules. They don't want to be controlled. This is not a bad thing, but it can be. Any stage of our development and our growth can be detrimental to us if we stay there, if we do not keep moving. If we're in a closed system where everything is predetermined and everything is well defined and there can be no surprises, that's the kind of world that psychopaths want to create, a world where there's no surprises. Well, surprises are how we grow. When we're willing to live in an open universe, an open system with an open mind and an open heart, we're able to tap our creativity, tap our resources such that the talents, gifts, and abilities come forth. When we try to label everything and put everything in its proper compartment, in its proper place, we end up so structured that we create a world like the one that we have, where everything is defined and everything is compartmentalized. Knowledge is compartmentalized. You're a theologian, or you're a philosopher, or you're a scientist, or you're a whatever, a doctor, a lawyer. Whatever you study, you become an expert in that one thing, as opposed to drawing from many sources and many resources to develop the best you can be. The best idea and perception you can have is the one that draws from the most sources, not the one that limits its sources to just the Bible or just a philosophical point of view. So any Gnostic, I know, philosophy is arrogant. It is a closed system. It is egocentric. It is detrimental to development, to advancement, to progression. It's detrimental because it thinks it already has the answer. And as long as you think you have the answer, you can't get anything else in. It doesn't matter whether it's science, whether you're coming from a scientific point of view or a religious point of view. When you're full of your own shit, you can't get anything else in because you've stopped the shit. You've basically closed your anus. Your anus is shut off, and you can't let go of the ideas that you need to let go of that were important for the stage of development. In other words, it's like you're a rocket, and you want to carry the solid rocket boosters into orbit with you. But it's too heavy, and it's going to bring you down. It's like trying to keep the scaffolding. Once that phase of your construction of your life is in place, you refuse to take down the scaffolding. The scaffolding is your religion or your idea or your point of view, your present point of view. When the ego gets stuck there, it becomes your own worst enemy. And it will manifest all sorts of issues for you time and time and time again until you get the message. It's time to let go of this elemental stage of your development. It served you then, it's not serving you now. The diaper served you when you were an infant. And then the training pants served you at another stage. But if you carry on with the diapers, and some adults go back to the diaper stage, they become incontinent and have to go back to the diaper stage, go back to infancy again. I would never want to live like that. Now, that's not a put down for those that have to live like that. You have to do what you have to do. We all do. But what I'm saying is, we need to be willing to let go of ideas and beliefs and ways of looking at the world that are no longer in the highest good. We need to open our minds and open our hearts and have an open system where we allow creativity, where we allow discovery, where we allow experimentation, where we allow ourselves and each other to test ideas, to test ways of doing things, to test products that we think might benefit. There are lots of products there, but what do we have? We have a psychopathic mindset in our world. What is a psychopathic mindset? It's a Gnostic mindset. It's a fundamentalist mindset. It's a mindset that I want to be in control and I want to stop getting surprised. I want to stop everything that's enigmatic or paradoxical. I want to stop everything that I can't control. I want to control my life, but control's an illusion. Nobody can really control their life. Can you control when the sun comes up at a time other than when it normally does? Can you make the sun rise at night? Can you make your hair change color without using chemicals and putting chemicals on it? Can you add a foot to your stature or take a foot off? Can you drop 50 pounds or add 50 pounds? Just by taking thought? Without doing anything about it? Or is there a process? Is there always a process? There's always a process, isn't there? Because that's how life is. Life is not a static thing. It is a process. Now, he said that the Abrahamic religions were basically demonic. You know, he didn't use that word. They're archon controlled, which is saying the same thing. They're demonic. Are there demonic elements in Judaism and Christianity and Islam, and for that matter, Hinduism and Buddhism? Of course there are. Any set of principles that is concretized or set in stone becomes the enemy. It becomes the antithesis of life, which is a natural process of evolution. Life evolves. And when you try to stop that evolution, you are antichrist, anti-life. You are the beast. You become the 666 on the negative side. You take your sexuality on the negative side. You take your life force and your grounding and you put it on the negative side where it becomes destructive instead of productive. So we have to look at our religions. What part of our religions is detrimental? The part that won't grow. The part that refuses to change. The part that refuses to consider other perspectives. The part that thinks it's always right. Those are the parts of our religion or our worldview, our philosophy, that get us in trouble. They freeze us in a lower stage of development and do not allow the evolution of our consciousness to bring forth the renaissance within our own hearts, within our own lives. And every one of you that is trying to maintain the status quo because you're afraid of what the future might be. You believe the prognosis that the future is going to be one of control with a combat boot on every face like 1984, the novel 1984. You believe that the New World Order is going to be a dark New World Order, a tyranny of control and domination by psychopaths. You believe that. And you believe that they are so strong that it's never going to change in your lifetime. That's archon stuff. That's ego stuff. That's fear-based. That is a closed system. That is not allowing yourself to open up and expand and become the phoenix that rises out of the ashes that you have made of your life and that I have made of my life by making wrong choices and learning how to be adolescent egos, thinking that we know it all or know it better than everybody else. And we fight for our own way instead of developing the wisdom to hold things loosely, including those that we love. We give them freedom to be, to develop, to experience things on their own. What you hold tightly, that's a closed system, that's fear. What you're willing to expand and allow to open up, that will change everything. Gnosticism is a damning religion, a damning philosophy when it comes from the attitude of this is the right way. Were there demiurges that planted bad seeds in the human family? Probably. Did God allow that? Well, it happened. It happened. So it must have been allowed. Now, there are all sorts of challenges, and I challenge God all the time. I want a God that is active and alive and merciful but just. I want a God that can change things. I want a God that honors free will and punishes those that don't. Yes, I want a punishing God. Because we need, in this day and age, we need a God to punish the psychopaths that have taken control of our world. But we have to look at ourselves, and we have to punish the adolescent ego that has taken control of our lives and locked us into a closed belief system that doesn't allow us to become a blossoming flower, that doesn't allow the opening of our gifts and the exercise of our talents and the discovery of abilities that we didn't know we had, and creativity that will allow us to develop beyond the oil energy system, beyond a financial system that enslaves people, beyond governments that try to control people and become more and more oppressive and tyrannical. We have to grow beyond that. We can do it when we decide we can do it. But if we think we know it all already, then we're not going to allow our minds and our hearts to be open to new possibilities. And I'm telling you, we must be open to new possibilities. John Lash needs to be open to new possibilities. Yeah, it's fascinating to go back and study what these people believed. I spent a year or more studying Gnosticism. I can't remember the guy's name. It was somebody, a philosopher from California, and I used to listen to him all the time on his Gnostic point of view. And of course, when I was younger, I read fundamentalist book after fundamentalist book, trying to figure out who was right. It's not about who's right. It's about living life. It's about loving. It's about expanding. It's about growing. And it's about growing up and letting go of the previous stages of our evolutionary development, of our spiritual awareness. Letting go of those and recognizing that it's time to move on to something better. There's other things that I'm thinking of right now, but I've already gone beyond, or I'm at the time that I need to wrap everything up. So I'm going to do that. But really, really listen to what I'm saying, because I believe it's wisdom from the heart. Thank you. Namaste.